Disclaimer! This is where normal booktubers will put in, this is not for the author. This is not for their friends, family, or stans. I am quite different. Opal Rain, if you're here, welcome. I don't care if the authors listen to this. I don't even care if they try to attack me for my thoughts and opinions on their books. I'm just trying to give some constructive criticism, and if it helps them, awesome. If it doesn't, cool. But enjoy my rambling. What's up, guys? Some Gamer Chick here, and I decided to add a new video slot for the week. I've been trying to just keep up with a schedule for my YouTube videos, and I decided to add in a what I read for the week on Mondays. I probably won't post one every single Monday. It'll just be the weeks that I actually read something, because there are a lot of weeks where I don't read anything, but I'm also the type of person where I start a book and I can finish it in a day or two. So I'm very quick at reading. I finished this one, and Mayumi is definitely still my least favorite character so far in this series. I like the Duskwalkers because Opal Rain, she doesn't talk at you through the Duskwalkers as much as she does through some of the female main characters. The first two were really well done. It wasn't a whole lot of the author talking at you through them. There probably were a few points, but it was minor enough I didn't notice it. But with this one, it was a lot more prevalent. And one thing that I really dislike about Mayumi is she doesn't really reflect on how her selfish actions affect others. So there's one part where she essentially rails and bails a chick, and the chick sees her in town a little bit later, and the chick had made it very clear to Mayumi that she did not want a one-night stand. But Mayumi sweet talked herself into her bed. So when the chick sees her later, she understandably slaps Mayumi. And I'm sitting there like, you deserve that. You totally fucking deserved that. And most of the guys I know, if they were in that situation where they railed and bailed on a chick and she had said she didn't want a one-night stand, but they still only gave her a one-night stand, and she saw them again and she slapped them, most of the guys I know would have just been like, yeah, I deserved that. Sorry, but yeah, I was not looking for anything more than a one night stand. Sorry. They'd have just let her do it, get it out of her system, and moved on with their life. But Mayumi, she's not like that. She threatens the girl for slapping her. Like, you can't slap me! Bitch, you fucking earned and deserved it with what you did. And I just didn't really like that. And then you have the whole ending sequence where Faunus sacrifices himself to try to save her. And that's the only time that she really reflects that her selfishness caused another pain. That is the only time she really reflects on it. And it doesn't feel genuine on her, because it's like, okay, she reflected on the fact that Faunus died because of her selfishness. Because if she hadn't have done certain things, it wouldn't have caused certain other things to happen, and he wouldn't have died in the end. But she does manage to save him in the end. She doesn't reflect on the fact that her selfishness, he wasn't the only person that was hurt because of her selfishness. I mean, her friend Yoshida, um, he didn't die, but he almost died. I mean, he got ran through with a sword, and the only reason he's alive is because Faunus healed him and went, protect her. The only reason why he's alive. And you know he's probably sitting with some trauma from that. But that was just, we're not gonna even bother talking about that. So yeah, she's a selfish cunt. Just gonna put it out there. I don't really care for her. I honestly don't think she's good enough for Faunus. But anyway, that's just my personal take on her. And then then I started the fourth book. I'm not really super far into it yet. I finally got to Merrick's point of view. After Raywin's point of view, it was definitely a breath of fresh air. I do not like this chick either. Both of these books had we had sensitivity writers in these, and I am starting to look at trigger warnings and slaving about fucking sensitivity readers. I'm going to start looking at those as red flags for books because this had a ton of trigger warnings in it too, and it disappointed the fuck out of me. I still haven't finished it yet. So I'm going to start looking at if an author is throwing trigger warnings at you and talking about how they have sensitivity readers to help them with writing a disabled character and all of that stuff. I'm going to start looking at it as red flags because there are a lot of telling and not showing violations just in the beginning part of this. There are a bunch of parts where she's talking about how the character is super clever, she can do this. There was one thing where she had to make it apparent that she still has her contraception band, and I'm just like, oh, okay. And then there was also when she's talking about the elf people, because she's an elf. It felt like the author was telling you that the elf people are so much better than humans because they don't eat meat. Everybody has shelter, food, water, medical attention, even if they're not working for it. If they want more, they have to work for it. But they're all stuck in the city because of the demons, and I'm just sitting there I get it, rationing out food to everybody is a good idea, but at the same time, if you have you're gonna have people that are like, well, why should I work for more if I'm gonna be getting what I need anyway? It just breeds laziness, in my opinion. But that's neither here or there. It was just very off-putting, and it takes you out of the book when the author is giving these exposition dumps, and it doesn't feel like she's trying to show you the world. You're just in Raywin's laboratory in the very beginning, and she's trying to get these fluffle pumpkin things to grow. Some sort of vegetable or squash, and she's trying to get it to grow because they need more food so they don't run out of food and have a famine and all of that kind of stuff, and she's just trying to do that. But you get this whole thing about everybody gets a certain amount of food and blah blah blah, and it just takes you out of it instead of Raywin trying to do this, and then her and the demon elf dude that is her assistant just kind of talking about, and him, like, I mean, she could have had it given us her trying to make this magically grow quickly so they can have more food. She could have had it to where her and her demon dude assistant or whatever are talking about it, so that way we get the exposition that she's doing this to increase food production. That's all she needed to do. But she gave us this entire exposition dump about the elf society, and it felt more like this society is way better than humans. And I'm just sitting there like, I honestly wouldn't want to live there. Like, I take pride in the fact that everything that I have, I've worked my ass off for. Oh,
he almost fell. Shoulders wants to be here today. Say hi, Shoulders. Say hi. Say hi. What a good boy. What a good boy.
Good boy. He is purring up a storm right now, and he's probably gonna start drooling on me soon. But, back to my rambling about this book so far. Well, her spell goes horribly wrong. She ends up in Earth, so we only spend like the epilogue in the Elf Empire, and we get all this exposition about it, and it's just kind of like, oh, okay, hi, Bubba. I got Fenrir right here, and I've got Solus right here. Both my boys just want to be with Mama today. But, oh, I love these guys. All right, you want them? He's like, no, I just want like this. Okay, but, so she ends up in Earth, and she's in the town, and she's essentially just complaining about it. She hates she essentially just hates the humans. She thinks they're just so dumb. She thinks it's so dumb that there's homeless people, that they have to pay for shelter and shit. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, all right, okay, Opal, I see where you stand politically. You don't have to shove it down my throat. But and she's talking about how like they're so mean to her because she's blind and all of that stuff. And when you finally get to Merrick's point of view in this, it is a breath of fresh air, because he is just an asshole, and I am all for it. I love how much of an asshole he is. It is awesome. But yeah, she's really dumb so far. And in the exposition dump, when I say that there's a lot of telling, not showing, Opal throws in some things where in Raywin's internal monologue, she's talking about how she is so clever and all of that stuff. And it's just like, you don't tell us she's clever. You show us her being clever. That it's called showing, not telling. It makes the story more engaging. It makes you feel like you're in the story a bit better. But yeah, that is so far what I have read. I could add in the fact that I read the first 2 books of this within the last week too. So if that gives you kind of an idea of how fast I can read, I read that fast. But yeah, I'm going to start adding in, but that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. And I am definitely going to look at trigger warnings and anything where it's anything with this type of shit in here. I would like to give a big shout out to the wonderful sensitivity readers who helped to make this book a safe place for those I am trying to positively represent. As you all know, representation is a big part of what I do, but I want to do so in a way that isn't harmful. shit like that is now a red flag for me, because the Dusk Walkers are still fine. Like, they're not sitting here spouting just bullshit at me. They're just doing their thing, and I am here for it. But some of these female characters, especially with Mayumi and Raywin, they are they are. I'm fairly certain there's a gay couple, and I'm kind of dreading that. But that is. You know what? I'm gonna add this in just because it fits for what we're talking about right now. Because Raywin's blind. She was blinded in a magical accident, and she's always talking about how, like, they just treat, like, the elves just treat me like a normal person, but the humans treat me so weird, and I don't understand it. Under the oak tree, Maxie has a stutter. It is a really bad stutter. You could say that it is kind of a disability, because her family has treated her like shit because of her study. They've treated her like shit because of her red curly hair, and she gets married to this guy. They consummate the marriage, and then he goes to war. Like, he is gone the next morning when she wakes up, and then he finally comes back, and she's constantly been told that no one would want her, and like, I mean, there's a part where she has kind of that flashback to something that her father is saying, and what he's saying is, what kind of man would want a stuttering wife? And this is when she's first seeing him, and she's like, I can't do this. And he responds, yes, I've returned, so what? You could at least pretend to be glad to see me. Like, he wants her to be glad to see him because he's missed her. Damn it, it's as if I'm a monster to you. No, I'm done for if he leaves me like this. I didn't know what to say. I can't do this. Nobody would want a wretch like me. And he's just like, damn it. And he smooches her. And then they get kind of interrupted by his lieutenant or whatever. And it's funny because she thinks he's leaving without her, and he's like, no, you're coming with me. You're coming to my house. And throughout the book, she is constantly worried that people are going to not like her because of her stutter. And instead of not liking her, the way that Suji Kim writes it, everybody at his keep says nothing about it. They don't care. They just care that she is his wife, and that's what's important. It's never thrown in your face that this is how you should treat people with a disability or anything like that. It is just, this is her, and this is her kind of healing from the trauma of what her family put her through. Like, there's one part where let's see, where is it? Nope, not that part. She fell asleep. Okay, so this is when she's talking about her hair. My nursemaid always complained that it was hard to brush, that it was an awful dreary color that stood out everywhere, that it was ugly. And he comments, but your curls are so adorable. I love the way they fall down your shoulders and how they feel on my skin. Leave your hair down when you're with me. Like, he loves her hair, and she has always been told that it's ugly And he even goes, your hair is so fluffy, like a red cloud. And she talks, it's a nuisance, always getting tangled up. And then that's when it gets into that part. And she's like, he has such peculiar taste. And it's like, no, he just really likes you. He just really likes you. But yeah, so I mean, to any author out there, if you're writing a disabled character, a character that is not normal, don't throw in our faces like, oh, we shouldn't feel like you're talking at us. Just write them. If you want to show them facing adversity, just show us them facing adversity. If you want to have them having to struggle with their stuff, just show it to us. You don't have to talk about how, like, the elves treat disabled people so much better than the humans. You don't have to throw that in there, because with how short she was in the elf realm so far, it didn't need to be in there. If she's in the elf realm, give us the exposition dumps through us watching her walk through the elf realm. Don't throw it in our faces. But I have officially just been rambling on for like 21 minutes now, and I think this is a good time to stop. Yeah, I think this is a good point. But yeah, I finished this, started this. Next Monday, I will probably have finished this and finished another book, and I will give you my thoughts on those. So far, I am living for him being an asshole. It is awesome. But we will leave it there. I will leave a link in the description to my own writing, so you can check that out. If you check out my writing, definitely read the books in order. There was a huge skill jump between book 2 and 3. And then I am working on the second book. My brain has just been... But starting July 1st to the 5th, Dawn Pearson's will be free on Kindle for everybody. Right now it is free with Kindle Unlimited. And then July 4th, The Raven's Ire comes out. And I am excited for you guys to see this one, because so far this one is my best so far. But I will definitely catch you guys in the next one. This is Some Gamer Chick signing off. Bye-bye.